The 9 Years Podcast.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to episode 12 of the 9 Years Podcast, the AFC Wimbledon audio fanzine that spices up your life every Thursday. My name is Nick Trevor, joined once again by Stuart Deakins. Today is 15th of October 2015, and this is the 12th edition of the show. And I thank you very much for listening and continuing to make this the most popular AFC Wimbledon podcast anywhere in the world. Our audience continues to grow, and you can help us stay the number one AFC Wimbledon podcast by subscribing to the show on iTunes and saving yourself the hassle of having to try and find us every week. Click the subscribe button on iTunes and have the show download automatically to your laptop, iPad, iPhone, or other, let's be honest, cheaper but less effective tablets or smartphones. This week we'll be playing the second half of our interview with the club's kitmen, Trevor Williams and Robin Bedford. This week we'll be chatting about our memories of the old Wimbledon FC, memories of our non-league days from the CCL conference, and recalling that famous day at the City of Manchester Stadium. Stu and I will also be playing a brand new game today, as well as looking ahead to events at the club over the coming week. We'll talk about the Oxford game in a moment also, but before we get on to that, Stu, I've got to be honest, I'm just recovering from my first instance of 5p bag rage in my local Sainsbury's, and I'm still a little bit shaken by the whole experience. Now, have you had to pay 5p for a shopping bag yet, Stu?
Well, yes, I have. I think I'm very similar to you, Nick, by the way. And just actually, I was like to say hello to everybody because I've been told off by my fiancée for not saying hello to everybody as she thinks it's quite cool. Yeah, 5p for a bag. Yeah, I've had a bit of a whinge. I think it's crazy. I've got so many bags in the house, and we take them to the car, and then I forget to take them to the car, and then they charge you 5p for a bag. And finally, I went shopping yesterday and spent, I think, about 50 quid. And then I'm being charged 5p for a bag where I've just spent 50 quid in the store. Well, as long as they're being honest about where the money's going, isn't it?
Well, this is true. It's almost as if, Stu, these people are owned by the same people that owned Crawley Town.
Oh, that's never good.
Ooh, no. We might come on to them later. Anyway, moving on then, back to football. Oxford last Saturday. A 1-0 defeat, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not expecting us to just talk about the game too much really this week, as we're sort of in danger of repeating ourselves. We've not taken our chances, we've lost out because of some poor defending, or an instance of poor defending, and in fact, today I'd rather talk about our record as a whole against Oxford, which now stands at, well, since we played them as AFC Wimbledon, so since 2002, we have played them 11 times, won precisely none of those games, lost 9 of them, picking up 2 draws and only scoring 3 goals in that time. Do you think there's a psychological effect when you have these types of runs against these teams that you're almost onto a loser before you even kick off?
I think there has to be, doesn't there? I know it's always spoke about, and to be fair, it wasn't chatted about as much this time. I know last year we went to Oxford and we got a draw there. There was a lot in the press and Neil Hardy making a bit about it, and we're going, and we did. We managed to get something good there. But I think maybe it does become psychological. Yes, the players change, but the fans don't, do they? So the fans take into that. We didn't go on Saturday, which is a bit of a poor show from us both. But we've got a lot of games coming up, haven't we? But
washing my hair.
Washing your hair. I didn't go. I'll be truthful. I looked at the fixture. It's probably one of the shorter away journeys.
Yeah.
But I think it's just a mentality. I don't know. The fans go there thinking, we're going to get something. I hope we're going to get something. But then it becomes very much the same old picture. And I think eventually the record's going to go. Through the years, Oxford have always been a decent team. If you think about when we come up through the leagues, the reason why we didn't get much against Oxford early on was because they were a good team and we weren't really in the league. But psychological does play a massive thing. So. Here we go again. Let's hope we've got them back at our place. We've got to finally go and let's just go and beat them and just get this record gone, and then we can go and move on to something else.
Now, without either of us actually having been to the game, we've both seen the goal back, obviously. I think it's a bit harsh for us if we were going to pick a a star of the week or anything like that this week, it might seem a little bit silly. Instead, we're just talking about. We'll skip ahead a little bit on the podcast. We're talking about psychological effect and runs and bogey teams and things like that. We do have Accrington Stanley coming up in the next 7 days away, a fixture that we haven't ever taken a point from. Do you think it's a midweek trip as well, so we're not exactly going to be taking a great number of fans up there? Or are we thinking we might be onto a loser before we even kick off? And again, they've had another win on the weekend and they're flying at the moment.
Yeah, Accrington is a nightmare. Obviously, we play Morecambe and then we play Accrington. So two totally different games. If you look at Morecambe, I would say Morecambe. When you look at the league table, it's really weird because actually Morecambe, I thought, had a great start, but they're actually only 1 point better off than us. Going into the game, we've got a decent record against Morecambe, which sometimes the league can play tricks with you because we actually think we've had a great start, a bit of an average. But Morecambe had a great start, eased off, and actually at no point they're better off than us. Accrington, where do you want to start with Accrington? In terms of the form league, they're top of the form league with the last 6 games. They've won 5 and lost 1. They score goals, they can see goals, but top of the form guy, just gone and beat Barnet 2-1. Our record, I actually looked at this because I was just thinking, is it really as bad as I think? It is. It is bad. In the last 8 games, we have lost 6, drawn 1, won 1. But just to give a bit of a positive thought to all the Dons fans out there, the last game we won against them with a 2-1 win.
So there is hope that we might actually end this run against Accrington. So what else we've got to try and do over these next couple of days is try and put a run together. Because you mentioned there the league table and the fact that Morecambe have actually, did you say a point above us now?
Only a point above us.
Only a point above us, but we are bang mid-table. We could not be a more mid-table team at the moment. The only thing is we've got a minus goal difference. If we had a 0 goal difference, we would be absolutely bang mid-table. 12 games, 4 wins, 4 draws, 4 losses. Is this going to be our season?
I think so. It's interesting. A lot of the guest books we go on, one of them was just one of my good friends actually just said it's just going to be a mid-table season, and I was thinking, no, it can't be. But yeah, 12 games in, and like you say, we're back, back in the middle of the table. I think to me, each year the team is better. I think we've obviously got to sort out. I was pleased yesterday on Saturday, of course. I was pleased on Saturday that we went with Lyle Taylor and Aziz. I want us to get a familiar strike force and get a consistent strike force. There's probably a discussion for another day, but Akinfenwa was left on the bench. And although he did train all week, so are we going away from maybe Akinfenwa being our 1+ other, possibly? But yeah, we're mid-table. I look at the table and I still look at teams that in and around us, and I think the playoff places are difficult. There's a lot of big teams, but the one thing we need to do this season is to put a run win together. So if we could just get 2, 3, 4 wins back to back, or even an unbeaten run we just had, of not being beaten in 7 or 8 games, we don't do runs very well, and we've got to start getting a run if we're going to really, like you say, come out of any place other than mid-table.
Okay, moving on then, we are going, as I said, we're going to play the second half of our interview with Robin Bedford. I was about to say Robin Williams, well that would have been an interview, especially at this stage. Trevor Williams and Robin Bedford. Obviously, we spoke to them after the Barnet game a couple of weeks ago at Kings Meadow. We stayed behind the scenes afterwards and chatted for about an hour. Here's the second half of our conversation. We were just chatting about how you volunteer and stuff like this, and obviously you were mentioning Fridays and being able to get time off work and stuff. What are your actual day jobs then away from AFC Wimbledon?
I work in civil service, basically a night IT technician. The best thing about that job is I get flexi time, so that is why I am able to do this job. Without that, I don't think it would be possible.
No. And I do admin basically at a groundworks company, and again, got an understanding boss.
Yes, it sorts you out.
So when the fixtures are released, I imagine that's quite an important time for yourself. Do you get in early to get your holiday, or how do you work? Have you got flexi time, or
it's just you sort of try your best to make it happen. Really, it's not as, and also fixtures can change as well. So it's not hard and fast. You can always book stuff. So we're quite flexible as much as. But then again, like I say, you look at the week we got coming up where. Ideally, you'd have Monday, Tuesday and Friday off. But otherwise, we drive
Wednesday morning as well.
And so if you think we'll get back from Aki leave Aki at 10, we got a good fish and chip shop sorted at Aki, so we'll get the fish and chips afterwards. Again, that's something we do. Take the orders and get the fish and chips delivered and then dish that out. I think if we get on the road by 10:30, on the road by 10:15, 10:30, and then that's still a fair old trot back. We've got a really good coach company, Reptons, and we've got a really good driver, Andy, who helps us with all the gear and stuff like that. Yeah. So, and that makes a difference, do you know what I mean? So, you know that he's going to come in there. He does on the kit runs and stuff like that, so he's as good as gold, to be fair. That does make a difference. Yeah, it's another pair of hands. Yeah. And then, so he's good, and they'll try and get back. Obviously, they've got their limits on their time they can drive and stuff like that, but they'll desperately try and get us back, and they sometimes pick us up and get a new driver on and stuff like that, so they're brilliant for us as well. But you won't be back here until half 2-ish, and then you've got to get up at work at 6:15 in the morning.
And I remember going back a bit to the conference days, or even before that, wasn't it, when we had to get a kit back here, and I remember giving it a hand a few times, and that's quite, after a long day, that's quite challenging. Yeah,
and to be fair, I normally somewhat abandon Robin at that, so because he normally, not actually, I think I'm probably being harsh on myself, but Rocket normally does more of putting away at the end sort of thing.
But the players, even Neil, when we get back to the club, Neil
Gaffer, Coxey, all of them will unload it. There's no everyone walks off. There's no everyone walks off and leaves you to it. Everyone gets a bit of gear off, and then me and Rocket get in the changing room and sort it out. But now everyone takes a bit of gear off, like all the players do as well. They all just sod off, and we get left with that. Just doesn't happen. Hards wouldn't let it happen. To be fair, Brownie never let it happen either. So the decent manager at the top. A lot of them then. They set the sort of behavioural standards for everyone.
I was going to say, you're talking about your fish and chip shop at Accrington.
It always comes back to food, Stu.
It does. How do they refuel on the away games? So what's the? I know sometimes Domino's pizza, or what's the?
It's basically we order it. Basically, Jay will take an order from the players, and we try and vary it up because you get sick of doing the same thing. So suddenly you have a gift, like you have a KFC that's near the grounds. KFC don't deliver, so it's got to be reasonably near. So we try and get KFC, fish and chips, Domino's are the flavours. We've had a Chinese, but we had one that was horrendous. So you sort of learn where places are as well. Yeah. Like, we know we've got a good chip shop at Aki, and we know we can phone up and order that, and they're good. Domino's is the fail-safe because there's always one around, so that's that. And then certain games like Northampton, Portsmouth, you've got KFC there, the boys all like that. So
I suppose it's interesting because it's important. We travel away as well. It's a long season, so I suppose trying to keep it fresh and that sort of side.
You're limited in what you can do basically, but we try and vary it up as much as possible. Like, you've got to find something there. Most of them elite. You'll never find anything that suits that. So we think there's 30 people on the coach, including. Full squad, players, staff. We've got Steve, the video guy. We've got Doug, PJ, Dougie's assistant. You've got our coaching staff, and so you've got it's a lot of people. You're not going to please everyone, so you try and get a bit of something that everyone can eat, basically.
How many years you've been talking about conference days and Terry Brown stuff? So how many years now have you been here in this role, like now as the sort of kid?
This is my 10th season.
So your first one would have been under Dave. Right.
I think it was his last year. I came as sort of Dennis's assistant, as was then. Yeah. He sort of didn't stop. There wasn't much of a handover between. There wasn't. Rocket. You did it. You won the. You won the day with Dave thing, didn't you? Yeah, I won a day with Dave. Back this. Story. I won a day with Dave, and I came in. I had a great day, but we lost 4-0, and so at the end of it, Dave Anderson said, "Don't ever come back," using a bit more language than that. Yeah, I can imagine. And I think he felt a bit guilty having said that. So I then got invited back to the last game of that season, and Dennis wasn't here that day, and I ended up helping out doing bits for kit. And then Trevor's secretary then said we were looking for someone to help out, and I ended up helping, especially for training initially, but then ended up becoming kitman a couple of months later, basically, and then I'm still here now.
And Trevor,
just obviously I was there at the start, and I've been secretary, so I've always been a movable feast of pretty much doing whatever's needed, sort of thing. So, and that just continues really. So, I'll do bits of kit with Rocket, I'll order the food and stuff like that. I think I'm a spare pair of hands as much as anything as well, isn't it? Because there's always something going on. Like last season, where did Shady leave his car keys in the hotel? So I can't remember where it was. Shazy left his car keys in the house. And then if you think the management are trying to do football, the player, you don't want Shazy worrying about what he's going to do. So then you've got a phone. Then it's just there's always something going on, if you know what I mean. Like, whether it's like something like that, as simple as that, or just getting the hotel to book a cab, send it there, and then get it back. It's just little things like that. It's not really anyone's job, so it's always handy to have a spare pair of hands. It's not rocket science by any stretch of imagination. It's just handy to have a spare pair of hands to do that. You had to do some weird stuff. So I ended up going with Jason prior to the hospital with Crawley when he broke his leg. So it's just a case of then, because we only had Mike. We didn't have an assistant to Mike. That ended up with me at the hospital with Jay, which was just weird, but just like again, it's something that needed to be done, so it got done.
Cool. Okay, well, I was going to say, Trevor, obviously you were here sort of in the very, very early days. We could probably have a whole other podcast talking about everything that's gone on in FC Wimbledon history. I don't know how much.
Some story.
Yeah, I don't know how much
Sadly,
time you've
I'm
got.
not sure when your podcast is Watershed or not. the best ones. You do a Red Band podcast. I'm not quite sure, so
We could do a late night podcast, the late night edition. But depends how much time you've got. If we could get into stories now,
it's footballers, and so it's footballers. There's always something going on. There's always a bit of mischief.
Even there's CCL
footballers.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's
anyone who's been at the night with Bassel probably might have heard about the haunting of the Ash dressing room on the close to Halloween. I can't remember the game or the result. I think we won, but there was a weirdly positioned cupboard, which is literally in the top of, like, as you walked in, there was a cupboard that was a no use to man or beast because it was about 8 foot off the ground. And I think it was Noel Frankham and Bass, or certainly Frankham was hiding the cupboard and made some spooky ghost noises. And you look sort of sitting there thinking, and then these noises, and then Frankham pops out of the cupboard. Like that. But that was a typical sort of, but it's very difficult to you're just looking and you see a midfielder pop out of the cupboard or something like that. Noel Frankham is a podcast on his own, by the way.
Well, I was going to say, Noel Frankham, I think, is probably one of the biggest characters we might have had play for us. Who were the other what other players we had down the years that have been particularly sort of memorable?
Bass could be quite mischievous, to be fair. A sensible coach, Bass could be quite mischievous as a player and stuff like that. But there's always someone who's a bit silly or a bit fun or something like that. There always is. And
the current lot, you're probably looking at Reevesy and Bullman.
Reevesy and Bully. Bully's very dry and stuff like that. And Reeves is Reevesy, basically. He's as silly as arsehole, but he's great value.
How has it changed? So obviously, I know we've also got the van now. You take your kit, but how has it changed from when you first started, Robin, to now? I know players have changed and stuff like that, but how has it all changed in terms of?
We're taking. When I first started, we were literally taking shirts, shorts, and socks and a bag of balls, and literally driving in my own car to games. Generally Essex, I think. And then obviously we went to more away games. So I had coached to most games, and then we just over the years we gradually added more and more kits. And now have towels, warm-up kit, rain jackets. Things like that, more
and stuff like that. It's just
yoga mats, things like that. So we've taken a lot more kit than when I first started.
We used to take 6 bottles of, 12 bottles of water. Now we take 16 plates of water and stuff like that. So.
I'm just looking around now because I'm feeling a bit odd one out here because all of you are looking resplendent in your AFC Wimbledon Admiral training gear.
I only ever wear it for games I'm working at.
I must say the training gear this year is looking really, really good, like really smart.
Yeah, I think this year's kit is probably all round is probably the best kit we've had in terms of looks and durability, things like that. So yes,
just another sort of thing of progression, I suppose.
Yes,
we have done as a club. Yeah.
I suppose the only question is, when Bayo signed, what was your thoughts about getting kit?
To get specially made.
You say that, but actually he can wear a kit that's probably not as big as, or he does wear a kit that's probably not as big as you think.
How far does it go? What sizes do we got?
He could wear an XL,
right?
But he likes it baggy and big, so he wears a 2XL generally. Mm-hmm. So it's probably not as big as
perhaps
you think. I think the biggest problems we had was we didn't have training shorts that were big enough. So last year, so he was wearing match day training shorts, match day playing pocket for training. But now,
again, that's not that he couldn't fit into me just like some baggy. A lot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
like,
And he
a lot
does,
of
doesn't he?
baggy shorts and stuff like that as well.
so obviously we addressed that this year and ordered bigger shorts.
So as your guests on our show, we have to ask you a few questions about your time sort of supporting AFC Wimbledon, or Wimbledon FC, how you want to say. What would you say over the years has been your most memorable Wimbledon game? Either as a fan or... But you're always a fan, of course you are, but you know what I mean.
It's probably a fairly obvious one, but I think the playoff game against Luton and Man City, just going to obviously the stadium, I think just the lead up to that and everything about that weekend just sort of seemed to just work out as planned. Terry did a lot of planning for the last 5 or 6 games towards that, and everything literally went to plan. So that'd probably be it, I think.
Yeah. Trev, would you agree with that one?
I think as a fan, I think as soon as you start working for the club, you lose a little bit. Not that you lose that passion for supporting the side and that. You find you've got one foot in each camp, if you know what I mean. So I can't pretend that I can't be. I'm still a fan. Don't get me wrong. When I stop doing this, I'll still be a fan. But it's certainly a different thing, isn't it, from being a fan to being involved at whatever level. So I think as a fan, you've got to think about the FA Cup final. And another game that sticks in my mind, just because it was such a brilliant game of football, was 3-3 at Newcastle on the Sunday on the telly.
Was that Selhurst Park?
Yeah. That just sticks in my head.
Yeah.
It was just an absolutely brilliant game.
Yeah.
But as you say, the City of Manchester thing was just amazing. Just an amazing experience, and it was almost like if you'd written a script, that was going to be. There was adversity, the thing in the second to last minute that pops back to Seb and stuff like that. It was a script you would have written for an over the top Hollywood movie about a football side, wouldn't it?
So we touched on it last week on our last week's podcast, and as fans and obviously working, what was the day like? Did you have any time for nerves? How did it go? It was a massive celebration. So how did you find it?
I don't think I got nerves. It was a bit of a weird one because I don't remember. It was at the end of the game there was a lot of emotion. I think that's when it actually really hit. But the lead up to the game, you were so busy doing other stuff, you didn't really get time to sit down and think about it like you would as a fan. So I think in some ways it's a great thing, and especially when you lose a game. When I was just a fan, I used to be grumpy for the rest of the evening, but now you almost have to forget about it straight away and get on with what you're doing. So that is probably one of the best things about the kid is you don't dwell on defeats as much. I think
you also it's a privileged position as well. Like it's not blowing our own trumpet. It's a lot of, as you said, it's a lot of hours, but we're lucky to be able to do it. And I think we do it well as well. I don't think we'd like to be able to dedicate more time to it, but we can't. Do you know what I mean? I think we dedicate as much time as we can to it, and we know we're lucky to do it. We get to see behind the scenes and stuff like that. You get to see stuff. It means you know stuff that you can't talk about and stuff like that. But you know that's part of the gig and stuff like that. But we're lucky to see. We've been lucky to see like the players and that behind the scenes. You're lucky to see how hard the gaffer works and how hard he works and how much he plans stuff. So we're privileged and much to see that. So it means you're not a pure fan anymore. And as Rocket said, the City of Manchester was just unbelievable and unforgettable. It was just nuts.
And what the change room was like?
It was really nice.
Because before the game we were supposed to actually have the away dressing room, but when we got there,
we got put in there.
Luton had messed them around a bit, I think, because they didn't want to do their
misunderstanding. I think
they were supposed to train on the Friday before, like we did, but they refused to do that. Didn't
I'm not quite sure the details.
So we ended up. So the ground staff were brilliant because they ended up putting us in the home dressing room, and it was
we decorated. So basically, they did a training session, and then they all got on the coach, and then it was Rocket's idea. I think it's the first time we did it. We got all loads of photos. So we basically decorated the home dressing rooms, and the next time the boys came in for the game was goal celebration. So there was all photos of them above their lockers and stuff like that. Yeah. So it was just looking for. They'd been here before. They'll make it look a bit like home then and that sort of stuff. And then obviously the game was nuts. I was sitting sort of behind the benches and stuff like that, and just lost the plot massively. And obviously had the penalties and stuff like that. I was in the days afterwards, to be perfectly honest. Like a lot of people, I bawled my eyes out at the end of it.
Yeah.
So the kid just chucked back in anything and just
we were waiting for kids.
We had to wait like an hour
because they randomly drug selected people, and they selected kids who for the love of money could not have a weed. So basically you've got It was who else got selected?
I think it was Ricky Weller. Somebody who came off as I think it was Ricky Weller.
So basically, they flew through. Obviously, Ked's dehydrated, played 90 minutes of football, 120 minutes of football, and then everything, and he's just sitting there. So basically, Ked's is trying to have a shower. His phone's going 10 to the dozen. You've got basically Ked's secretary answering his phone. His phone just kept. He was waiting for a call from his missus, I think. So he just kept answering the phone.
I think Ked's had to miss some of the celebrations because he had to be taken away.
Yeah, because once if you're drug tested, you can't. Basically, you get man marked by the drug tester.
Yeah.
You can't have a shower in case you wee in the shower and stuff like that. So you basically get man marked by the drug tester. You get one, and then he follows you around. You can't leave them. So basically, till you've produced enough of a sample for. So basically, all the boys are on the coach going nuts, and then so we're just waiting for Keds. Keds is just waiting for Keds, basically. So. No, but again, I don't know. You can only speak for yourself, but it was incredible. It was just an incredible experience, and still, I think, quite fortunately, sometimes then things go by, and there's little bits. Remember, I also think because we were given the video cameras, weren't we?
Oh, yeah.
We were given the video cameras, so I did quite equally drunk. I'm not sure who was more drunk in the interview on a Friday night, me or Dickie, but the Man City DVD has basically got all the footage of players and stuff like that, all the footage. So it's not edited particularly brilliantly, but it's all on there. And the thing is, because you actually were actively doing something, it makes you remember stuff and stuff like that. So I remember as soon as the penalty went, I just sat on everyone went around to the pitch. I just sat in their lovely dugouts, just like completely drained, literally my head in my hands, like tears running down my face. And one of the security fellas came up to me and went, "Don't worry about it, mate. Luton are massive." I'm like, "No, I'm really happy."
I think it was emotional, wasn't it? I know I should have teared.
Oh, yeah,
I should have teared. I wasn't embarrassed to admit it. It
No,
was draining, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I think you look at it and like everyone was and stuff, and it was just such a drag. I just remember getting back to the hotel room and stuff like that, and just sitting on the floor in the shower, just trying to it was still just so tense and just so wound up by it all, just sitting there and trying to relax and just couldn't relax. Really. No. It was just, and then you just see, and there's other things like you see Seb who's a fan and his dad who's a fan, and then you've got your emotions under control, and then you see them two running and hugging each other, you go again, sort of thing. It was just everyone. I think everyone and that whole group of players bought into it, because that whole build up to the game was like we lost at Crawley and we were awful, weren't we? They were awful, and then but Brownie said. And afterwards, I don't think Brownie really had a go, did he? He said, "Look, that's as bad as we're going to get. We're going to be all right now because I know you're better than that." And literally, we went on a great run then, didn't we?
Yeah, I think it was 10 games on or something. But he literally planned it. Sort of that following Crawley game, they had a team meeting that week, and literally he planned it, and literally to the
whatever the results since then, basically everything was positive. Everything was positive about that. We could have done that better. And we really did just kick on. And I think we got there, and it wasn't like it was. I think sometimes you go into the games, are you confident, and you feel there's an element of bravado there, and I genuinely don't think it was. I just think everyone just felt. I think everyone just felt really relaxed. I think they felt really confident. We had a few characters in the squad who didn't really have much of an impact on the pitch, like Reece Jones and stuff like that.
So Maney as well.
Maney, and them two are just nuts and just like totals, like tension relievers and stuff like that. And then you had. It's a funny thing. The things you remember from the game, I just remember all the pens, and obviously did a lot of work on pens. And like Tooks, for all his undoubted skill, couldn't score a pen, whereas. Yaks, just like I'm sitting there, and you could just see Yaks, and all you could, honestly, all from our fans, you could hear, "Ooh," like that, a little intake of breath, because it's the second half saying that. I mean, there's 2 steps as well. Like it wasn't far for John Fashion a 2-step penalty, and then turned around and gives the big grin. That's like it was a big grin. He was just like, that was a really brilliant thing, just like because you could tell everyone was saying, "That's a big centre half. What's he doing?" Yeah. But honestly, I've not seen him miss one.
No, I think, and it's funny, the 3 players who got substituted in that game, I think were on the list of
Gwills.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Ricky, Greggs, and Gwills. Yeah, they were 3 of our sort of first choice for the first 5. I think.
And then I think Ked's called it before. I think Ked said to Brownie, "I'm going to score the winning penalty that sends us up."
It was. I think you're right. We were on a run, and then we were at Fleetwood, and we won 2-0 on a Friday night at Fleetwood. And then we
Friday?
It was a Friday night at Fleetwood. So I remember staying in Blackpool the night over, and then we demolished Fleetwood here, didn't we, in the game? And I remember saying to you, teams on form win playoffs, and you were sort of trying not to be too confident. And we were on full now.
I also think our preparation was great as well. We did what we normally did, and I think Luton went to Spain and stuff like that. Didn't I think they sort of changed their preparation a bit, and I just think, whereas we didn't. We just went. I think the only thing we did massively differently was go and have a look at the stadium. So we trained on the stadium on the Friday, and the boys had a look round. So he did all the photos and all the touristy bits. So next time you went there, it was work. Rather than the players have played in nice stadiums before, but you went in there and then it was like then you went in there and you knew what the job was on the day. And so that was brilliant. And the club did great as well because like they sort of changed some things around and that, and so partners and that came back, didn't they? And like stayed in the hotel. So there was they put some food, regardless of win or lose. There was a nice little sort of not party, but like some food and that laid on for like staff and that sort of thing. So that was done. It was done really, really well on that.
Yeah,
I think we got everything as a club, everything, like not just team-wise, but club-wise as well, like with the fans and everything, the build-up to it and everything. I think we got absolutely everything spot on. There was such a positive from everyone going into that game.
Yeah, there was. And then like the night before, the boys went to a hotel that we had like a bowling alley and and the boys that went to the bowling alley and like that, and then there's like Reese and that were on like the dancing machines and stuff like that, and it wasn't the old Wimbledon go to the Fox and Grapes and have pints, but it was get out your own head and let's not think about it too much. It was just, and then obviously you had Dick, you guys down there and that, and there's like a few. So obviously it's great to have Dick around.
Yeah,
and your senior club people and people like that. So no, it was a brilliant. To me, I think the best thing you can say about it was if we'd lost, I still would have looked back on the weekend with not the same fondness, but still sort of a brilliant coming together of us players and staff and fans and stuff like that, and just seeing. And honestly, the best bit of film I've seen is Matt Haylock, wasn't it? Matt Haylock's video from behind the goal. If you ever get a chance on YouTube, I for the life of me can't remember the name. He basically films it. And then he gets in, you see him going nuts and he runs in and you see all players surrounding him and stuff like that. It looks like the best Adidas advert that was ever released. If you get a chance to see it, it's a fantastic video and it sums it up, and obviously you still see like the WDON commentary laid over the photos and stuff like that. So it's brilliant, just brilliant memories of a brilliant day.
Yeah. And then it brought to an end, we're talking about the emotion of it all, it brought to an end an amazing journey we've had since like 2002. In that time, going back to the originals, well, not so much the CCL days, but also the Ryman League days and stuff like that, who are your sort of most memorable clubs that you visited that, aside from sort of the Football League conference type? So we're talking Ryman sort of level. I'm thinking back to the Merthsons and the Haybridge Swifts and teams like this. Anyone that's been particularly good to us as visitors? Not so much to us.
I think for the most part, football people deal with football people. So I think football people deal with football people. So I don't really remember. I remember some unpleasantness at some CCL stuff with some sort of small-minded people and stuff like that. But I don't remember thinking these people are awful. Do you know what I mean? I think for the most part, I think for the CCL, obviously, it was a massive friendly invasion for the most part, and they really enjoyed it. And you still, obviously, we played 21's game at Mercer, so it's really nice to catch up with them people that are still there. Do you know what I mean? And they all remember them days incredibly fondly and stuff like that. So, and for the most part, I remember them. I don't have many bad memories, to be perfectly honest. I have some bad memories of results and some bad memories of performances, but not necessarily.
Not the clubs.
Yeah, I think like Haybridge, who flooded the dressing.
I think we got to Haybridge and it looked like it had been mopped with a dirty mop just as we got there. But again, I think it's dangerous to read malevolence into that rather than they've got 8 million other things to do because they've got a lot more people coming than normal. So I honestly don't remember anyone thinking, "Oh, he's an absolute tit," sort of thing, or anything like that. Beyond some small-mindedness in the CCL.
Yeah, not even Bromley.
Well, to be fair, I know a few Bromley people, so I get on all right with them, to be absolutely fine. What happened on the pitch was awful. I presume you're talking about the Ryan Hall thing.
Yes.
Well, yeah, we'll go with the Ryan Hall one for now, yeah.
No, I mean,
as a fan, it wasn't the best place to visit.
No, I've been there loads of times as a fan, so I think the Coney Hall thing was... to be fair, that wasn't very nice, but I'm not sure a lot of our fans covered ourselves in glory that day either. No. So I think that was... I think that can be a bit traced back to. Don't forget, we went there for a pre-season friendly, Trigger's goal and stuff like that. It was a brilliant day out. Yeah. There was beers everywhere. Everyone had a really nice time, and it was all football family together. And I think maybe people thought it'd be like that again, and it wasn't Bromley. Yeah. And there was some local, not particularly nice characters.
Yeah.
Not Bromley people, I hasten to add. There were some not particularly nice characters there. I think I don't think I'm exaggerating when I said I phoned Eric at 5:30 when we got there and said we're going to need police, because it was quite unpleasant even by then.
Okay.
Yeah, we were the same when we got in. You sensed something that night. It wasn't a nice.
It wasn't a nice. It wasn't. And literally, I think I might have phoned. I might be. I phoned Eric. I remember phoning Eric very early and saying this isn't a good atmosphere. This isn't a good sort of thing. Because I think Bromley probably they remembered the really nice pre-season game.
Yeah.
And they thought, well, those Wimbledon fans are no trouble. And I think there was an element of our fans that weren't great, and there was a big element of the visitors that weren't great, and it was a recipe for not as much as a disaster it could have been, but it was unpleasant without a shadow of a doubt.
Okay, if we can do then, last little question then about your time sort of as Wimbledon fans then. Robin, if I start with you, who would you say would be your favourite AFC Wimbledon or Wimbledon FC left back of all time? I have to mix it up a little bit. I know one name springs out to me personally. I'll tell you that in a minute.
I'll probably go Ben Thatcher just for his. You always knew the first chance you'd get, you'd just take out whoever he's marking, and it's just sort of how long it would take.
Yeah,
I did used to love Ben Thatcher.
And Trev, your favourite? What position would we go for, Stu? You pick a position for Trev.
Favourite centre half.
There you go. Good question.
That's really hard, isn't it?
There's so many to choose from.
Chris Perry was ridiculously good, considering he was a 5'10", 5'11", being very generous centre half. He could time a tackle. I'm not sure he was much of a footballer, but he was a battler and a ratter, and he could time a tackle for fun. So I think Chris Perry there or thereabouts. And as for AFC Wimbledon ones, I think Matt Everard, just ridiculous. I've never seen a man who can time a run into a penalty area so well. All right, we scored 160. I can't remember how many goals we scored, but at any level, a defender who gets 20 odd goals in the season, he had an amazing ability to time a run into the area, and he was brave. And he used to go in off of something. I remember we were playing someone at Carl Shorten, and he scored a goal. He's bundled himself into the net, through the net, a defender, and he's just like pushed up against the net like that. And he's gone, all right, Trev. He's like through the net. It's like, all right, Matt. And also he scored one of my favourite ever goals, which was the Herne Bay in the last minute.
Yeah.
Was that the trophy?
The Vase, would it be?
Vase, yeah. That was a brilliant. That's just a mad celebration, and just seeing again, I was sitting next to the dugout there, and also learnt the dark arts of football off of Bass that day when the ball's come to us and they're trying to score, and he's accidentally let the ball go through his legs and it's gone to the back of the dugout, and the ball may have been kicked at the back of the dugout and slipped in the corner as they're trying to get, and that may have caused some offence to the home bay fans trying to receive it. But I just remember the ball going in the net as a header. Of course, it was a header. It was a Matt thing. And then I just remember looking at because it was a big terrace behind the goal, wasn't it? It was, and there was a good crowd there. And I just remember just watching bodies go over, and a pair of legs go up in the air there, and a pair of it was actually brilliant. Going nuts celebrating the goal, and also watching this sort of these bodies and this massive humanity writhing around behind it. It was brilliant.
It's a shame we got him so late in his career as well, wasn't it? Cause
I don't know how old he was when he got him, but he just obviously had an injury at a terrible time, didn't he? So when we had our little spate of cruciates and stuff like that, he was one of them, and he was last thing I thought. He's another one who pops down occasionally.
Yeah.
He was manager at Ash and stuff like that, or assistant manager at Ash, that sort of thing.
That's Ash.
Yeah.
Ash is always good in the thing, isn't it?
I wonder if that guy's still. He must still be there.
We played him in a pre-season friendly, and he wasn't there, which is a source of much disappointment to me after talking him up for all the young kids.
A couple of years ago.
Trev, Robin, thank you very much. It's been fantastic. Thank you very much for joining us. It's been a great chance to speak to you and also highlight just how much you do for the club for free. Pretty much giving up a lot of your working week. So it's very much appreciated by everyone, I'm sure. And I hope people realise just how good a job you do for the club.
I don't know. We try and do our best. We're quite an obvious group of volunteers, but there's a lot of volunteers and stuff like that, and so just there's a lot of less obvious ones that you see around, like you see people stewarding every game and stuff like that, and that's we get a little bit of attention, get a bit of attention, but there's a lot that don't get any attention at all. So I'm really pleased to be doing something like this, but we're volunteers, but we're volunteers who've got a really good job, if you know what I mean. I think it's probably fair, isn't it? Like that.
Probably, as a fan, you couldn't really get a better job because you're there right
We love what we do, and we're lucky to be privileged position. I love doing our job. I wouldn't want to do a volunteer steward job where you've got to look after some aggressive drunk away fans. Do you know what I mean? So we put a lot of time into it, but it's a really enjoyable job for the most part. And I think there's a lot of people who do a lot less glamorous stuff, and it's probably not as much fun. Do you know what I mean? So we're lucky to do what we do, basically.
Thank you very much, Trevor and Robin. It was a great chat we had with you guys, and we look forward to hopefully at some point in the season maybe getting you guys back on to talk about a few more things about your time helping out the club as the club's kitmen. But Stu, I think it's very important as well. I know we sort of mentioned it in the interview there, just to highlight the importance, and we've done it on the show before, of our volunteers and a lot of the work that does go unseen by people, a lot of the hours that goes unseen and probably not even thought of by people. I know that Trevor and Robin have spoke before about sometimes on a Saturday coming in on a Thursday night to travel up on a Friday night to come back at stupid o'clock in the morning on the Sunday morning.
Yeah, obviously I know Trevor and Robin very well, and I've been, like I say, I've been fortunate to travel in the kitmobile, as Robin called it. But the preparation, I know they meet. I think we're due to go to York in a couple of weeks, and I know they go on a Thursday night and they're prepped for 2 or 3 hours, then get home. And York, I think last year we got there about 7 o'clock at Robin's place. Drove up there, and then literally what's quite funny is once you actually finish the drive, they then got to get the kit out. There's a lot of kit. Last year I'm hearing there's more kit, but there's a lot of kit, and there's demands. The demands of the players, even though the players are so respectful, they still have demands at match day. And Trevor and Robin do really well. Of course, as they were quite rightly pointed out, they're not alone in that. And I think anyone who wants to know how the volunteer base lives is just get there one day early, about midday, and you'll see all the volunteers start coming in. They go to Paul Raymond at the booth just before where the entrance is to John's. What it's called now? Yeah, it's
we'll just call it the John stand.
John Green stand, isn't it? So
go.
there's so many stands, isn't it? Mr. Green, how can I forget him? But you'll see them go to Paul Raymond. They're signing, they get their badges, and it's literally just all the way through. And it goes from program setters to security to merchandise staff to bar staff. To people just working in at the club, to ball boy. There's endless, and sometimes we have a bad day and you want to just cheer yourself up, go along there early. You'll see them all get in there, and they truly have a great love for the club, and we wouldn't know what to do about them.
Right. Well, this is normally the part of the show where we would do our birthday game, but this week, Stu, I've got to be honest, I couldn't find any birthdays of any interest. The Mirror was a bit lacklustre this week, if I can be critical of the Daily Mirror newspaper.
Cool, we'll move on then, yeah?
Well, actually, I thought maybe, as I've had this idea in the past, maybe it's time to trial a new game to play, okay? But
can't wait.
This is all right, because I'll tell you what I'll do. If you win this game, and I'll explain how you do that shortly, I'll do what I've offered in the past, and I'll buy you a programme at the Morecambe game. That can be your reward.
You so know your money's safe, don't you? I love it.
Yeah, probably. Right, so I'll come up with this new quiz anyway. I have ingeniously titled it "The Quiz Where Stu Has to Answer a Question with the Answer to a Previous Question." What this basically means is that I'm going to start with a question. I have about 15 of them in all, and then you don't answer that first question, and then the second question I ask you answer with the answer to the first question, and so on, so on. Okay.
Okay.
And we'll keep going until you've either correctly answered every question, which should come full circle, so every single question I ask should have an answer, or you get an answer incorrect, which, well, your history on this show, Stu, I've got to be honest, is not really favouring you, I don't think.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, Nick, and I share your trepidation. Trepidation? That's the word, isn't it? Yeah, I share that concern.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. I don't feel any particular trepidation myself. I'm quite happy. I've got the questions and the answers. I can understand you might be a little bit. But, let's go for it then. I've got some wonderful music for this new quiz as well. So, should we go straight into it?
Yeah, why not? Go on.
Here we go. So, who was the Swedish pin-up that co-hosted ITV show Gladiators with former Wimbledon striker John Fashanu? Question 2. Who was once famously pictured grabbing Paul Gascoigne's groin?
Eureka Johnson.
Former Wimbledon centre-half Mark Williams was once married to which former Page 3 model?
Mr. Vincent Jones.
What was former Wimbledon midfielder Stuart Cartledine also famous for doing?
Liani.
Lilani.
Lilani.
Complete the name of Hampton Richmond's clubhouse, the what bar?
Daytime TV.
Complete the name of AFC Wimbledon's mascot, Hayden the...
Beaver.
Complete the name of this former AFC Wimbledon left-back, Chris...
Womble.
What was Alicia Dixon, ex-wife of former Wimbledon player Michael MC Harvey, famous for?
She was famous for Bush.
What job did Eric Samuelson do before joining AFC Wimbledon?
Pop star.
Who did Steve Evans manage before Rotherham?
Accountant.
What is another word for fraud?
Crawley.
Complete the name of this Wickham left-back, Sam...
Stealing.
Oh, give you it. What did Neil Ardley last get in January 2015?
Saunders. I think that's gone wrong. Oh,
so close. So close.
Sam. Who plays for Wickham? Sam Saunders last year, wasn't it? But now...
What did Neil Ardley last get in January 2015? It was Wood. Sam Wood.
The left... It was either left back, left winger. Oh, do you know what? I rate him as well. That's disappointing.
No.
I got confused. Sam Saunders, of course, was on loan from Bedford last year.
We were so close, Stu. But you know what? I like that game. I think we can try that again.
Yeah, I think that's great. I'm now totally confused and my head hurts, which is not good because the podcast is not supposed to be that taxing.
No, but it also means my money is safe for this week.
Your money was always safe.
Like we predicted all along. But never mind. Actually, I'm quite impressed you. Actually, did well there. You got to a question... Well, I only had about 4 more questions before you'd all won that. So,
yeah, I just felt that I was quite fortunate with some of the answers, I felt.
Yeah, possibly. Possibly. But there we go. Thank you very much, Stu. We will try that again next week. We might have fewer Wimbledon-related questions because that was actually quite a struggle to get those to work. We might have to have some more general football ones. But let's get on to next week. So we've already spoken briefly about the game at Accrington, but we also have Morecambe at home this Saturday. Now, Stu, I have to admit, I am agnostic, which means that I do not believe in rugby. So I'm a bit disappointed that our kick-off on Saturday has been pulled forward an hour to 2 o'clock because of some egg chasing that doesn't even feature England. I am confused. Dazed and confused by this decision.
So, just did we bring the game forward because we felt there might be trouble coming in from the... So obviously Twickenham's on the same route, isn't it? It goes into Northampton.
Similar, yeah.
Was that the reason, or just because people wanted to get home to watch England in the to watch other teams in the quarterfinals?
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure that the reason was ever given to us. I assume it was for travel reasons, but in reality, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock was not really going to make much difference. I have a horrid feeling it was because they thought people might want to actually watch the rugby, but with football, not rugby, we're different sports. We don't care. Rugby's too... you know what, the rugby fans, they're so quick to have a go at football and our supporters and the way our players behave. Hey, look, England team qualified for the European Championships without a hassle. No problems.
Easy peasy, isn't it?
Yeah, rugby team, what have they done? Nothing.
To be fair, though, the good thing about actually having a 2 o'clock kickoff, I thought about this, is that actually if we win, we actually go high on the table. So we can actually say we are, I don't know, France say we are 8th or 9th. We actually get higher. And we can then also think about another way, Nick, we can also get into the bar and watch the last half of Soccer Saturday.
This is true. This is true. What will probably happen, though, is that I will come on stage and do the man of the match at about 4:15 and talk all over Joe Stelling. Be quite
true.
irritating.
And just checking, actually, the highest we can actually go would be up to... Actually, we can go as far as 9th on Saturday.
Yeah, see, you went far off. Okay.
Saturday with a 1-0 win. Or 2-0 win.
I'll take a 2-0. I'll take a win. I'll just take any sort of win. What is your prediction for Saturday?
Morecambe, they score a lot of goals. I know they score a lot and concede a lot. So I just think with the logic that we are due to batter somebody at home, I'm going to go for a 2-0 win.
Okay, and do you want to venture an Accrington prediction at this point?
I haven't got a clue. No, I can probably Accrington. See, the thing is that football logic is a nightmare, and the chances are we're going to go to Accrington, and Accrington are probably on the best form that they have been ever since we actually went there.
Yeah.
Logic would tell you we'll probably go there and get a 1-0 win. The stupid side about it is, just as much we said about Oxford, where, sometimes can it weigh on players' minds? Maybe it does. I would personally just go in there, get Neil's play 3-4-3, chuck everyone on, chuck the forwards on. Let's just go for them, because logically, if we go there and try and get a draw, we ain't going to get it, because of history tells us we don't. So let's just go and be brave. Let's go there. The record's got to be broken. Let's break it well and truly.
Sounds good to me. Thank you very much, Stu. Me, myself, I've given up predicting. Who knows? I don't have a clue. I had money on us to beat Oxford. I thought we couldn't lose them again. I thought we'd actually do it this time. And just shows you how much I know. Other things then to look forward to over the coming few days. Saturday is the last day for nominations for the election to the Dons Trust Board, which will run between November the 2nd and December the 7th. We'll talk more about that process over the coming weeks, and we realise it's cutting it fine now, but if you are interested in the nominations and the election process and want more information, please go to the website www.thedonstrust.org. Also go there to check for more details about the Dons Trust Mini-thon, which is happening this Sunday at noon at Morden Park. You can find out how you can sponsor Eric Samuelson or Hayden the Womble or any of the other participants in that, so please check it out. Otherwise, that brings us to the end of today's show. Thank you very much for listening. And remember to like us on facebook.com/9YRS podcast and follow us on Twitter at 9YRS podcast. Updates from the stupidly kicking off at 2 o'clock Morecambe game will be available on Don's Player and through AFCW Scope on Twitter and via the Periscope app. That was great viewing at half-time this past week at Oxford United. Thanks very much, Paul Raymond, for that. But please remember, Stu and Paul will be there on Saturday as well. And just do not forget that the kick-off time is 2 o'clock. Do not turn up at half-time, please. But don't be that person. You don't want to be that person. Anyway, thank you very much, Stu.
Thank you, Nick.
And thank you very much again for listening. Next week we'll be talking to Gordon Strachan to discuss his holiday plans for next summer. We shall see you then.